Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to another episode. I think it's episode number 4 of What's Up, Spirit. My name is Lesia Kohut. I am here with my co-lead at the Victoria Truth Center in Victoria, British Columbia, Sheri Hauser.
Hi, Lesia.
Hi, nice to be here with you. And
Likewise.
before we jump into our conversation, our catch up for today, what we were just talking about was how about we take a moment and pause to really come into the present moment? And so I'm going to invite everyone who's tuning in, I'm going to invite you, Sheri, and I'm going to do so myself, to close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever it is that feels comfortable, and just allow yourself to settle into this moment a little more clearly, with a little more focus, with a little more intention. And as you do, as I do the same, I invite you to begin focusing on your breath, noticing how it moves in and out through your nostrils, in and out through your lungs, perhaps noticing the rise and fall of your belly or your chest, and just allowing yourself to let go of everything that has come before this moment, right here, right now, opening up to the right here, right now. And so, as we settle a bit more intentionally into this rhythm of breath, moving in and out, in and out, in and out, I invite you to open up to the knowing that we are actually being breathed. We are being lived. We are being known into being. This incredible, amazing energetic flow that is the only thing that is ever going on, the essence of everyone and everything, pure spirit, pure potentiality. This is the only thing that's happening right here, right now. And in order to anchor ourselves more fully in that awareness, in that knowingness, I invite you to take 2 fingers of one hand and just gently rub them together, just the fingertips, focusing all your attention on the sensations of touch, noticing the changes in texture, any changes in temperature, rubbing with such attention that you can even notice your fingerprints. And now I invite you to bring both hands in front of you, palm to palm, fingertips to fingertips, and just gently take your right hand and glide it down the left, taking in all the sensations of touch. First with your fingertips, feeling all the ridges, all the lines, all the valleys, all the differences in your palm and the fingers of the other hand. And now I invite you to take your left hand and gently glide it down your right, still taking in all the sensations of touch, noticing everything through your fingertips. If your mind wanders, just bringing your attention back to your hand, and then just gently rubbing all your fingertips together, noticing everything that you're picking up on through your fingertips. And then I invite you to just gently place your hands on your heart. Receive a big, life-affirming, nourishing breath in. Let it all out gently. Returning to your normal breath. And then receiving another big, life-affirming breath in. And letting go of all of that. And returning to your normal breath. And just settling into the rhythm of your normal breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So before I tell people what that was, Sheri, what are you experiencing right now after that short practice?
I'm much more aware of my body. I'm much more aware of the fact that I am this human being made of star stuff walking around in this meat suit. And so your invitation to check out the texture, of my fingers, and I really enjoyed the kind of like the ridges and the valleys, I think you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my palms read last month for the first time in decades. And the amount of information contained in my palm
Mm-hmm.
that guided the intuition of this spiritual practitioner. And I couldn't believe what was here for her.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that she could sense about me, in addition to what the ridges and valleys told her.
Mm-hmm.
And so, since marveling at what she got out of it, I haven't spent a lot of time with my own hands and fingers,
Mm-hmm.
really considering what's here.
Yep.
And so I found that very affirming, just this opportunity in just a couple of minutes to get in touch with myself in such a simple way. I think about somatic practices and
Mm-hmm.
how they're brought up, especially when dealing with conflict or someone having a trauma response
Yeah.
to a situation, and that all of the healing and the answers lie in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of the memories that are stored are in our bodies, and
Mm-hmm.
the way that we react is, impacts our bodies. And so,
Mm-hmm.
just taking a couple minutes to say hi to this one part,
Yeah.
I found very nourishing.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for sharing all of that. So what that was, it was actually a combination of a couple of things. So what the sort of this part was, the sort of getting in tune with the fingertips and the ridges and the valleys and really being focused on one part of the body. That was what was called a PQ rep. And that is part of the positive intelligence paradigm. And positive intelligence coaching is one of the things that I do, I call it a spiritual tool, even though it's not necessarily a spiritual tool, but it is so in line with the spiritual practitioner work that I do as a practitioner and as a spiritual counselor. Because what it does is it pulls people out of the drama and the trauma that is sort of out here and that they might be caught up in and focusing on and spinning and spiraling in, which all takes place in the back part of the brain. And through that focusing and attention brings people to the front part of the brain, to the middle prefrontal cortex, which then gets them grounded and anchored in the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, you're literally using a different part of your brain. You can't get caught up in anxiety about the past or the future or what ifs or shoulds or coulds or woulds or anything like that. And so it's an amazing tool. And it's just one of many, many ways to do it that gets you out of all of this into being right here, right now, which then opens us up to really anchoring ourselves in creating life as who and what we truly are, than from what is going on around us. So I wanted to introduce that today. And this was just one way. I can bring in some more, over the next, conversations that we have. But the idea really is to just pause and take refuge and focus in one sensation of the body. So whether it is touch, whether it is focusing visually on something, listening to sound. You can even do it as you're chewing on something and just really getting into all of the different flavors and textures and parts of the mouth that you're using to chew on something, and then all the different mixing of the saliva and all that kind of stuff. the more you focus on what is going on right in this moment, the more present you are. And you're literally building this part of the brain, which then helps you to navigate the trauma and the drama and the anxiety and the stress that we can so easily get caught up in. And by comparison, the back part of the brain starts to shrivel up because you're not using it as often. So something that is a practical tool that really also is a spiritual tool, because it just opens us up to really living more of who and what we are, which is love.
Beautiful. Something that came through for me as I heard you talk about the focus on the sensation of touch. And you mentioned a few other senses. Something you said was the even focusing on chewing and the texture and the flavor of the food. Did I tell you what happened at my birthday this year?
You may have told me, but how about share it with the people who are watching?
Well, there was an experience that I had requested some time ago from my husband that I said I think I would really enjoy, that had never happened before. And I'd forgotten that I'd made the request. And so we were away. I think one of the recordings we did was while I was in Sedona for my birthday, is that a meal had been prepared off-site. So I wasn't privy to the preparation of the dinner. Mm-hmm. But it arrived where we were staying, and I was blindfolded, and I was fed every bite of food, from appetizer through 4 courses, including a sip of wine and ending with dessert.
Wow.
And I have to tell you, there was a salami bite, and I know you're not a carnivore, but there was a salami bite in the introduction of the meal. And I had never tasted a piece of salami like this. And I imagine that it perhaps wasn't so unusual, the type of meat that it might have been, the type of cured meat, but the flavors in my mouth, without seeing and just focusing in on the smokiness and the sweetness and the savoriness.
Yeah.
It was exceptional, I have to say. Yeah. Yeah. Every bite. And I hope it can happen again. Like maybe it becomes an annual tradition. And I want to give that gift back, because that type of playing with your senses, when you limit one, you expand another. Mm-hmm. And what a treat. What an absolute gift it was.
Well, and that just, I mean, talk about what we focus on expands. I mean, having the opportunity to just really hone in on this is what's happening and not get encumbered or weighed down by, oh, here's a piece of meat that I'm cutting into, that I'm putting up to my mouth, that is this color, that has this many flecks of fat in it. So then starting to think in my brain what it's going to taste like and what the texture is going to feel like, to just be so present in the moment and experience it right there, you know, maybe like smelling it as it's coming up, but really being so focused and present to it. I mean, if that isn't a great illustration of what happens or what can happen when we focus our attention and energy on something rather than kind of scattering and being pulled in a bunch of different directions at once. So what a beautiful, amazing, delicious experience and opportunity. Congrats.
Yeah. And as we talk about senses, I'm remembering one of my colleagues in my leadership training with Art International. Art stands for Authentic Relating Training. Mm-hmm. And one of the European practitioners that was at my level 4 course, she brought in an activity around senses. And it was, I'd never been invited before to tell anyone, what smells do I like? Mm-hmm. What sounds do I enjoy hearing? Mm-hmm. What is something I really take pleasure in seeing? And what kind of touch do I like? What kind of fabric or sensation against my skin is nice to me? Mm-hmm. And getting to think about, what are my favorite smells? What are my favorite sounds? I mean, this wasn't something I had really given a voice to
Yeah.
before. And it was a really enjoyable exercise. So I highly recommend it to anyone out there, to play with your beloveds, your friends, your family members. Just check in and say, what senses do you enjoy, and where do you find them in the world? How can you invite more of them into your life for simple pleasures? It's a no cost way to get a boost.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that I think that's also a great invitation for people to share as well. I mean, drop a comment, in the chat, wherever it is that you're participating and engaging in this podcast. Let us know, some of the things that Sheri's talking about right now, because when I'm thinking of a scent right away, one of the first things that came to mind for me was beeswax. Beeswax, because for me, being Ukrainian, beeswax means being in church. Beeswax means Easter egg painting. Beeswax means it's so linked with my culture and my heritage and so many community and family get-togethers and creativity. It just, anytime I smell a piece of beeswax that is very aromatic, and it could mean there's more pollen, more honey, whatever, because the different beeswax smells differently depending on what went into it. But that, for me, I know right off the bat, is one of my absolute favorite scents, and I can feel it in my body even talking about it and thinking about it.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So you use the word play. Do we want to talk about the different ways that we're playing with people in our community?
We do.
All right.
We definitely
what would you like
do.
To share?
Because this past weekend was the second ever Radiate, the spiritual cabaret that is all about celebrating the human spirit and the ways that we show up to be radically self-expressed. And as the curator of this event, I must say, I thought our performers brought their A game.
Oh, yeah.
Having a singer who has a master's degree in vocal performance sing opera and jazz, and that's Jennifer Lang, while her friend Brian Wismath, who is the musical conductor of the Victoria Choral Society, accompany her on piano. What a gift! What a gift to have these talented musicians just be in their artistry performing for us inside of the sanctuary, the Victoria Truth Center. What a gift for everyone in the room to experience that. And I thought the spoken word pieces were incredible, and the way everything tied together. So this way of playing, it's this 90-minute container, and 5 to 6 different individuals get invited in to add their piece. And just, you remember, because your talk, This Is Me, layered perfectly with the poem I read by Jeff Forster, which layered perfectly with Joanne's guided piece on permission slips.
Yeah.
So I know that it was streamed live on Facebook, and we'll have video clips to share with our friends and family and fans in the future. But what magic to see the threads being woven together, that for me walked away with what happens when we dare to be seen for more of who we are.
Yeah. When we dare to express more fully who we are, going back to the monthly theme, which is wrapping up as we wrap up November and start to inch towards December. And so that was Radiate, the second Radiate. And then we also had the very first Elevate, which is our brand new Wednesday weekly experience. And that also was just so phenomenal, so life affirming, so full of joy, so moving, in similar ways, but different ways too, or similar reasons, but in different ways. And, we had our own collection of live music. There was a discussion, and wow, did people ever get into the discussion? It was fantastic to see people just relating without knowing very much about authentic relating, but relating authentically with each other and building community on the spot by just being present, by being aware, by engaging, by participating, by receiving. It was really, really lovely, and so looking forward to the next one, which is happening tomorrow, this Wednesday, which by the time this gets seen will probably have happened already. But yeah, and then Sundays we have our morning meditation and community gathering. And come 2024, there's going to be a lot more new stuff to play with. So, but that's where we are now. So, any closing words for today's What's Up Spirit segment?
Yeah. You are loved. You are loving. You are love.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. Mic drop. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of What's Up, Spirit. Thank you, Sheri. Thank you to everyone who is part of the BTC community now and who is on their way. If you'd like to learn more about us, then you can check us out at victoriatruthcenter.org, and you can join us in the Facebook arena at our Facebook page, Victoria Truth Center. So that's it for today. We will see you again in about a week's time. Bye for now.
Bye for now.